We have a good one because we're going to be here in South Florida. We're going to be at an outdoor tiki bar. Screens all over the place, good-looking girls. And it made you want to go back and turn the clock back quite a bit because there weren't the percentage of good-looking women when I was at Syracuse University it was mostly early 70s. I got there in 69. The ratio of good-looking girls to total women in the student body was nowhere close to what it is today.
Oh,
is that a fair statement?
Well, for
Nowhere
you,
close.
yeah. I mean, you were in Syracuse too, so they were covered up the whole freaking year. I mean, FSU was literally renowned, and working out was a big deal at FSU. So, like, the women were in great shape. Plus, you had FAM and then TCC, and the women were fantastic. And it's an era where people were taking care of themselves. That's the other thing too. When you were going to college, we didn't know all the things we knew about nutrition, about exercise. People were very active. It was extremely talented, to say the least.
And you were in the sunshine, Lubie.
Yes.
As you mentioned, this was
the weather helped.
frozen tundra time. I mean, you were likely to pick up a girl who looked like Jerry Kramer. Just because he might be able to throw a block. We didn't get to see much. The general rule of thumb was if you didn't find somebody to shack up with for the winter at registration, you were going to be pretty much out of luck. You were going to be going to the gym in the cold and trying to play pickup basketball and maybe hoping some of the guys that were on the Syracuse team, whether it was freshman or varsity, were in the gym there so that you could get the feeling that you could have competed. And then how did Jimmy Boeheim overlook you as a walk-off for the squad?
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
Very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Defo Show. I'm Jeff DeForest. We got Mike Lubie. Lubit's wearing stripes today. And it's always good to see Lubie on one of these days where everything is happening, where there's nothing but wild anticipation of what's going to take place in the sporting world. And Lubie, before we get started, how are you? Because I'm going to use a Pat Riley quote here to introduce the NCAA tournament games, which 4 are on tap today. They begin at 7 o'clock. Kind of, they went away from the thing of having it being a day-long affair. Maybe, do you think money is influential there? But going to be overlapping a couple of games and different networks, so you'll have to do a little bit of searching back and forth and hope you catch the right action. But Pat Riley, of course, had the famous quote, and I'm not sure I'm on board with this, even though it was professed by Pat Riley. There's winning and there's misery, Lubie. Are you a believer in the idea that there's winning and there's misery? I mean, it's not like I want a participation trophy, but I think if you give it your best in any kind of effort, whatever it happens to be, and especially on an athletic field or in a sporting matchup, if you give it your best and you lose to somebody that's better, what would be your approach, Lubie? For me, it was always hey, man, you outplayed me today, but guess what? I might get you next time.
Good for
But is it meritorious, I guess would be the word. Meritus? What the hell am I talking about?
I don't know.
To embrace the idea that there's winning and then there is misery. What do you think, Libby?
I mean, as I've gotten older, I'm not as competitive, but when I was younger, that's literally how I felt. Like, I hated
everything, right? That's Lombardi. It's the only thing.
Yep, I hated losing more than I loved winning. Like, winning, you're happy, and then you move on. Losing would just stay in me, and I couldn't get it.
Quoting Serena Williams, who had that same attitude.
This is how
I hate losing more than I love winning. You were like that? No, you are extremely competitive.
Were
you losing for the most part?
In rec sports, yeah. I would always be on crappy teams, and I would lose a lot. It was really freaking annoying. But as a fan, I'm the same way. Like, when my teams would win, you're excited for, like, the night, and then you turn the page to the next year. When your team loses, you're pissed the whole off season. Like, it's just, I don't know why it's like that, but I've always agreed with that. As I've gotten older, it's not as bad, but yeah, I lament the losses way more than I celebrate the wins.
See, I was not like that at all. I guess maybe it's a byproduct of when I first started smoking weed, and I was I never took losses hard or let them linger.
I mean, that's good.
Losing all the time, you have to do some introspection and say, well, why the hell is this happening? Maybe I'm just not good enough. That's possible. You might come to that conclusion. But if in general you're a winning player or a player that's on winning teams because you are a winning player, I don't know that you need to be in a total despondent state of mind. If you lose. I was the guy on the team bus that when we were coming back from a loss, I was kind of like Phil Linz in the back there. The famous story about Phil Linz breaking out a harmonica, and Yogi Berra was the manager of the team, and he wanted to throw him right out the back window, and just didn't enjoy the fact. But I mean, what was the point? I literally I traveled with that Hurricane basketball team that never won. And it was always dead quiet on the bus ride on the way back from the arena and then the airport. Everybody's hanging their head. Nobody's talking. I'm thinking, this isn't conducive to turning this around, Lubie.
Mm.
You need to ignite some kind of a spark of enthusiasm. But I bring this up because there actually is, in this case, when you're talking about all these people like myself, I don't know if you're still alive in any kind of bracket pool. And as we've been discussing, we're going to go right against, very hypocritical, right against our own mantra, which is nobody wants to hear about your bleeping losing. Nobody cares, right? You ask a guy how he's doing. Hey, how you doing in your brackets? You don't care about the answer, do you, Louis?
No, I
You
don't
don't
care
give
about
a flying one.
brackets. No.
It's kind of like you start a conversation in a bar with a beautiful woman, and you say, "Hey, what's your name?" She says, "Sheila," and you can look in her eyes, and she's staring at you with that look that says, "Go away, you
Yep.
fat old creep." But you go ahead and ask her a question, and then you're hoping that she says something back like, "So, what do you do for a living? I mean, what do you do for fun?" And
Yeah.
guess what? She doesn't care about your answer. She can't wait for you to go away. Same thing at the track. That's where, a lot of this kind of stuff goes on, and I've been with it for a long, long time. Where guy comes, oh my god! I mean, I can't believe I left the two. I don't have the two in my exactas. Like, do you give a flying one? No, you could care less. Just go away. Take your bad breath out of here and tear up your tickets, throw them in the garbage can, and get out of my life. I don't want to hear about your losing tickets. You're not interested. But I am alive with a few teams, and wow, I'm almost embarrassed to admit this, Lubie, but I have all the favorites going tonight. All of the favorites. And that is the only thing that can save me. And if I lose, I'm going to be very depressed because I came out of that shoot just flying, Lubie. 29 out of 32. Not the
Wow.
greatest. I mean, could have done them, obviously, 3 games better, but I didn't feel badly about that because was I making an educated guess or selection on any of these things? No. We'd be the first to admit we didn't know crap about this.
Very
Nobody
much.
does.
Yep.
It just happened that there were very few upsets of a gigantic magnitude. You always had to look at that 12 versus 5. Most people were saying before the first round got underway that nothing from 4 on down is going to be going very far in the tournament. And in all likelihood, nothing from 4 on down, with the exception of McNeese and Colorado State. What was even going to get out of the first round?
Yep.
So that form has held up, but we have 4 games on tap tonight. Lubie, I don't know if you're looking at any of them in particular. Do you have to rewire yourself to get back into the tournament after this 4-day hiatus, or are you totally absorbed in it to the point where you've been dying in anticipation of 7:00 tonight in the first tip-off?
I mean, yeah. Starting yesterday, I was ready for the tournament to be back. Like you get in this mode where all day, every day, there's some action going on. And then Monday hits and you're like, okay, like, what do I do now? So Thursday comes around, I'm itching. And yeah, I mean, the matchups tonight, I feel like it's going to be a chalk fest, to be honest with you. But BYU is the one team that, like, I don't know. I don't see them winning at all, but I saw them finding their way possibly to the 8s. A lot of people really had a lot of high belief in them. And this Alabama team, as much as they are a 2 seed, they've been up and down at times. So the rest of them, I think Florida had their tough test, and I think Maryland's a solid team, but it feels like Florida's going to get through that. Arizona struggled mightily to get through the last game. Duke's just playing on a different level. And then, like, the Arkansas is a really cool story, and they are an SEC team, and they're healthier than they were. But Texas Tech is a team, like, the professor really believes in Texas Tech, and he's been pretty rock solid so far. So, like, that, those 3 games, look, I hope they surprise me, but the one game that I really see being interesting is BYU Alabama.
BYU a 5.5-point dog to Alabama in that one. Alabama, the number 1 scoring offense at 90.8 points per game. Everybody's thinking this game obliterates the over-under, which I think the total is extremely high in this one. Is it in the 170s, Lubie?
175 in a hook.
175 in a hook.
For a college game, yeah.
I sound like Karnak on the Johnny Carson show. 175 in a hook. What will the over-under total be? BYU and Alabama. Alabama averaging 90.8 points a game. Alabama averaging 81.2 points per game
How's
for
that
the
go?
season. So that equates out to a little over what? That's 170 and change.
Yep.
171 and change. So do you play the over thinking that they're really going to light it up tonight?
I mean, that's high.
That's extremely high, Lubie.
It's like 90s. Like you would have to be in the 90s to be comfortable about that. Like that's for a college game. Like in the tournament, they play a little bit better defense and this and that. Like that's
Milk the shot
really
clock a little bit towards the end of the game.
like they're pushing you under.
Yeah. So anyway, those are the numbers on that game. You give BYU a shot. They have what many people feel is the number one NBA prospect. And, well, at least in that game, and that's what is it? Igor Demin.
The one with the name. Yeah, the one with the weird
Igor
name.
Demin.
But he spells Igor with an E, like
Yeah,
which I've never seen before. Like I'm presuming it's not Egor, but I'm like EGOR. I've never seen before.
I mean, spelling wasn't his forte. I don't know, but nonetheless, basketball is. He has tremendous basketball instincts, as
He's good.
any scout would say. He's got a mindset that is just focused on winning. So Alabama with 5.5 points, they have to lay. Might be worth a shot there with BYU. You give BYU a chance to win this ball game outright, or are you strictly taking them with the points?
Oh no, I think BYU can win. Like I picked
Okay.
BYU. I think getting through this. Like I had a weird feeling BYU would get to the 8s. I think I don't remember my bracket anymore. I had enough failings that early on that I stopped paying attention to the bracket.
I'm still alive. I'm starting to feel like a
really
basketball expert here. I really am. College basketball. You watch 2 seconds of college basketball during the regular season, and much like as we talk about it, and this will happen again in a few weeks, when everybody becomes a hockey expert, even though they wouldn't be able to identify a puck from a bowling pin. They still will be saying, "Can you believe this goalie? I can't believe he did the butterfly there. Who the hell does he think he is?" Everybody becomes an expert around the Stanley Cup postseason. All right, so Florida's a 6-point favorite over Maryland. Maryland, with rumors swirling around about their coach, Kevin Willard, that he may be headed for Villanova. So I'm not sure what impact that will have on the game tonight. I would imagine not too much, because the players are probably thinking, "Hey, I don't care where this guy goes. Florida favored by 6 points in that game. I know where Mike Nyman, who's on our chat line, is going to be on that one, all over the Gators. The Gators survived their scare. They were getting seriously challenged by UConn. The final score, a little deceptive there, because UConn, did they not score like the last 5 or 6 points?
Yeah, Florida pulled
on a buzzer-beating 3 that was to no avail. Guy just chucked it up there and went in. So the final margin could have been, well, it was right there on 5 until that shot went in, and then you're looking at the score, you're going, "Oh, my God, 77-75. What the hell happened here?" But it was contentious all the way through. So many people feel like that was the game that you look at. Holy Dwayne Shinsis, what are we talking about here? Where you get the big scare in the second round, you get staggered by a right hand, but you're the better fighter, and they come back and they win that ball game. Favored by 6 over Maryland. Any chance you give of Maryland pulling the upset? Maryland barely. I mean, you talk about a scare. They're in that game against Colorado State. By all intents and purposes, they were already, they had told the driver to start up the team bus. They're going to get right out of the locker room and not even shower. And then they got that shot by Queen at the end of the game. Very controversial. So what level of threat do you believe, Lubie, they pose to Florida to win the game outright? That would be the question to consider.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Florida's just walking right through, but I think the bracket opened up for them a little bit when St. John's lost to Arkansas. We'll see if what Texas Tech can bring a real threat. Again, the professor really is high on them, so I hope he's right in the next round. I think Florida's going to get through this. After you have that scare, a lot of the time you get real high and you like just, and I think that's what this will be. I think they're definitely gonna get to the 8s. Like they were many people's pick to win it all.
Yes.
I couldn't go there. It made me sick to my stomach to do that. So, but I have to admit,
but it wasn't a terrible pick if you did make that selection.
No, they're at least an 8, and Maryland's a solid team. But watching that game, like that game was way too close for comfort. And yes, UConn pushed Florida. UConn also is a 2-time defending champion, and Florida in the end did pull away. Yeah, UConn scored some BS baskets at the end, but like by the end, The last few minutes, Florida had asserted themselves.
Game was decided.
That Maryland, like, to me, the kid, first of all, traveled. Second, made a ridiculous shot. Third, I still think the defender shouldn't have given him any room. And at the end, you were not wrong. Like, at the end, you don't want to commit a foul. So you sort of just put your hands up and hope that's enough.
Token pressure.
A lot at the end, yeah. A lot went into that for them to pull it out of their rear against Colorado State. I don't know. I just think Florida. I don't want to say walkover. I hope because the first 2 rounds sucked. So I'm hoping all these games are great. I just feel like that's one where Florida's going to assert themselves early. And
all right, Duke heavy favorite over Arizona. Arizona was getting pounded by Oregon in their game. Rallied nicely. They looked pretty sharp once they got over that 18 or 19-4 opening. And of course, my money was on Oregon in that game, so I got pasted. But nonetheless, most people looking at Duke with the biggest differential so far, plus 60 and change in the first 2 games. I mean, averaging 30-point victories in the first 2 games. The Duke Blue Devils seem to be very much on their game. Cooper Flagg, but he's raving about this guy. This Proctor kid has risen to the occasion. So John Shire, in all likelihood, walks away with a victory. Will it be by 9.5 points? That's for you to decide. And we'll see. But that appears to be the most lopsided. Well, from an odds standpoint, it's certainly the most lopsided game. And Texas Tech favored by 5.5 over Arkansas. We will have our own NCAA bracketology coming up here in just a second, as we'll be joined in just a moment by the great Dave Gurggles Gergely. At least so we hope. Yeah. You want to give that a test, Lubie, right away and see where we stand with that? Dave Gurggles Gergely going to conduct the trivia challenge as we do every Thursday. He looks great. Great. Can we hear him?
New camera. Can you hear me?
You sound
better than ever.
Good job.
How great is that?
Singing like a canary. And the camera
guy came in, put in a new camera, and he also upgraded the sound on my end because one of my ears isn't as good as it used to be. But now I can hear you guys clearly, and the new camera is working great. And I have your relevation. You did a little bit of the Karnak from Johnny Carson in those days. 175 and a hook. Open the envelope, and the answer is, what was the name? What was Peter Pan's rival's weight and his name?
Wow.
175 and Captain Hook. All right.
Very nice. Wow, you put that together quickly, Gurggles. By the way, the camera makes you look very distinguished. I really like it. You got away from that cheapy camera that was on there, and looks like the investment in the technology was well worth it because you look absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, the guy Jordan, FIU graduate who was recently hired in our IT department, big fan of sports, and he played basketball there too, and just came and did the job terrifically. So this is
we look professional, which is rare.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I never said this before, to be with you two.
Now we will have the trivia challenge. You can jump on board if you want to play. That's for you guys in the audience, and those of you that may have just found the show by total streaming accident on Bleacher Brothers. You can dial us up if you want to play. Compete for a great prize at 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. The number is on the crawl there, so if you can't remember it, as I'm rapidly reciting it. Hey, I didn't know the phone number. You're talking too fast, DeForest. 954-417-0070. If you want to play the trivia challenge, we'll have that game going. Now, I know you're a baseball fan. You're old school like me, Dave Gurggles. What does opening day mean?
What it means is that I made a $100 bet when I was at the Hard Rock in Tampa, and against my better wishes for a season-long win total. And I will be closely following the Cincinnati Reds.
You love the Reds, so you've been touting them
79.5 for the season.
Seems reasonable. How's their pitching? We know they have.
Well, they picked up some pitching. They picked up a couple new pitchers. They were not too healthy last year. We hope they're healthy now. And maybe it's a sentimental bet because Pete Rose came to me in a dream and told me to bet the over.
I used to love seeing Pete at the racetrack, and he would literally be sitting at a table, and nobody would touch this money. I don't know if he had people watching over it, but he had stacks of hundreds just sitting on the table, and he was sending it in. And of course, made a big score early on in the early days of the Pick Six. I think he hit one for $2 million, which was no small piece of change back then. Probably eclipsed. Would you say that was more than all of his salaries in Major League Baseball? They weren't paying guys.
I don't know. He signed a pretty good deal with the Phillies, I remember, but I don't know that it eclipsed all of it. And speaking of, you talk about the Maryland Terps, how can you bet a team that has selected Kermit the Frog to be their commencement speaker this year? I saw it on the news. Wow.
Wow, that's quite a distinction. I mean, those parents that spent 120,000 for their education and tuition fees, probably thinking, "All right, my son or daughter has escalated and elevated their intellectual acumen all the way up to the level of a cartoon character." Great, that's awesome. All right, opening day. The Marlins, of course, have the lowest ticket price for opening day. It's dropped since yesterday, Lubie. You'll be happy to know and find that probably, Dave, is no surprise that you can buy a ticket to the Marlins opening day with just a scintillating pitching matchup of Paul Skeens, who many feel will probably win the Cy Young Award this year, although that's a little premature evaluation since he hasn't thrown a pitch yet. But based on what we saw last year, the guy was somewhat unhittable, and you could bet him almost every game with the Pirates. Usually towards the end of the year, it was prohibitive odds, but you could count on him leaving with a string of goose eggs. And he's going against Sandy Alcantara, a beautiful pitching matchup. In fact, the ex-Marlin factor is big on opening day because we have two other guys that we traded away that are both opening day starters for their respective clubs. So essentially, we had three guys on a rotation at one time that I don't know if they were all on the team together. Pablo Lopez is starting for Minnesota. Zach Gallen for the Diamondbacks.
I think they were all together.
They started. And of course, we have a pile of dreck here, which makes it no surprise that in the evaluation of franchises, very much in the news after the Celtics sold for $6 billion, that the Marlins have the lowest evaluation of any franchise in Major League
Wow.
Oh my God!
by far. They're like well below the average, which is $2.5 billion. They're at $1 billion something, or slightly less, I think, than Bruce Sherman paid for the team. So not exactly somebody that you want to, as much money as he may have, even though he's broke by standards. I mean, pulling lint out of his pockets by the standards of major league owners and major sports owners. Nonetheless, his acumen for business probably not all that sharp, as he's probably, he might likely be the only guy that ever lost money in that type of sporting investment. The guy who sold the Celtics for $6.1 billion, Lubie, bought him now, albeit a while back, for $360 million.
Look, it was
Rough
20 years ago.
Yeah.
It was 20 years ago, and we know inflation and this and that, but that, I mean, that's a ridiculous return on investment.
Nice turnover. That's great.
I guess the big question with the Marlins game is: do we go back to our mutual friend Ed Kaplan, and when it's a day game, bet the over? I don't know about that today.
I'm not sure if that's applicable to the new stadium, though. That was very true when they were playing at what is now Hard Rock Stadium, and the capper was making a fortune on that. Day games, for some reason, the ball was flying out of here, and you would think it would be just the opposite, because if you're out playing any kind of recreational sport, nighttime is where the ball really flies here in South Florida. For some reason, the combination of the humidity and the way everything is, the atmosphere, you hit one, boom, it's out of here. Even shooting baskets outside, it was always a lot easier to add a couple of feet of range if you were playing at night as opposed to doing it in the daytime. I don't know why that is. Tennis balls fly when I'm playing by comparison. Maybe it's because I can see better at night now. Isn't that a weird turnaround? All right, we're going to have the trivia challenge coming up here. A couple of other things. If you didn't see this Jokic pass in the Denver Nuggets game last night, you have to take a look at that. Holy Magic Johnson. I don't know if I've ever seen a prettier pass, and the ability to anticipate. And LeBron with a tip-in bucket to snap the Lakers' 3-game losing streak. Very interesting, and seems to really be enjoying himself. He quickly has zoomed past that whole Stephen A. Smith thing, and was on an extensive. Did he say anything of any great significance, Lubie?
I know he was live in studio with McAfee, which I don't get how that happened in season. Like that was, I don't know. He did a lot about Riley, and people are trying to mince this and that, and I think the whole thing's stupid. Like I'm sure the cookie thing happened, and I also think he was going to leave unless they won that title and they were pushing for 3 in a row. There was nothing to gain by staying here. Like again, he'd become the villain, and he hated being the villain. He had to go back to Cleveland to change the storyline, and then look, he left. Cleveland gave him whatever he wanted, did everything he wanted. There's no cookie stories in Cleveland, and he still left for LA. Like, I think the whole thing with LeBron is just overblown in every direction. Is Riley an old ass? Yes. It was LeBron leaving no matter what? Yes. Like, I just think they like people are like, oh, the cookie story's real, because he said the cookie story was real. I don't even know what the hell the cookie story is. And Riley did push him out. Yeah, okay, LeBron. Riley pushed you.
He wanted to bring like chocolate chip cookies on the plane, wasn't that the thing?
I'm sure if they let him bring the cookies, he would have been black and red
There
his
you
whole
go.
career. Like, get the hell out of here.
You would have signed a lifetime contract. All right, we're going to come back with the trivia challenge here. Dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. Locally here, we give away a gift certificate to Landlubbers, which is an outstanding sports bar and a great place to take in all the action tonight. Lubie's going to be out there with his live trivia show with the professor. That's a gas. Gurggles has been out there for that, and you can't beat the food and all of the atmosphere they create there for the sports fan or for anybody, families at Landlubbers. But if you're out of town, it's unlikely you're going to be able to make that. And we do have some kind of vague confirmation
We
that
have
we're.
one. I still have another one. I have to talk to Ed's been in and out of town, but I do have
Okay,
one more
yeah.
Roadhouse. We did one last week because we did have our friend Key Largo Dave win, and I was expecting him to drive up to Landlubbers. So we do have one more Roadhouse, and I will talk with Ed early next week and get it.
Okay, so that's Texas Roadhouse locations all over the country. So if you're watching somewhere outside of Minneapolis and you happen to win the competition, you're not screwed. You'll be able to go ahead and redeem a beautiful gift card and a lot of food at Texas Roadhouse restaurant. So we're very happy about that development on the show because we want to have something for everybody. This isn't just about the pride of being a champion. All right, we're going to come back with Dave Gurggles Gergely in a moment. And the trivia challenge, 954-417-0070. Back with that. Our own competition here, our own Sweet 16 in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:34. Play the ponies in style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
Oh, solo volante will be coming late. Oh, solo volante. The Belmont's now 1 mile and an 8. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici just switched the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo, joined by Lubie, right here on the Defo Show.
That was really a Jim Neighbors, Mel Tillis type of thing when a polyman, known, of course, for his Midwest accent. Just, I mean, like a bird. I mean, like Pavarotti. Just sang this tune about Luca Panici riding in the Belmont Stakes that year. And, of course, very creative coming up with the song and the lyrics as well. All right, ready for the trivia challenge here. I know you guys want to win some stuff, and we have some great stuff we're giving away right here on Bleacher Brothers. And Dave Gurggles Gergely is going to fire off a series of questions. And you guys can dial us up at 954-417-0070. We have our modified Stableford scoring system that we use, and, of course, permission to change it and alter the rules to suit our needs here on the program. No, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, the whole thing, and a great competition. So what do you say, Gurggles? We get it started in the traditional fashion in honor of the Polyman and some
Easy baseball. This Yankee great on his Hall of Fame teammate said, Mick can hit from both sides of the plate. That's right. He's amphibious. Who's that? Yogi Berra, Walter Guerra, Pancho Herrera, or High Sierra?
Louie's going to roll a random phone scrambler to select our first player from the many people calling in. And it lands on our good friend Pat. Pat, longtime player, longtime, many-time champion. Pat, you're on the Trivia Challenge. Good morning.
Hey.
Hey, Squick. Good job.
Good morning, Pat.
Succinct, right to the point. That's how we like it, Pat.
Yeah, we don't like people that are messing around here, cracking jokes and all that.
By the
we
way,
take that on the comedy.
You can see Pat if you catch the reruns of his commercial for that foot pedal thing for exercise.
Oh, yeah.
I feel great. Yeah, I saw Pat on that. I hope he's getting residuals from it.
Did they just use his feet?
No, they showed him and everything like that. Yeah.
Pat, I have to ask you, did that thing really do any good? I guess you can't say. Are you in some kind of non-disclosure?
Pat's still walking.
Yeah. I could use that right now, actually. I should be doing it. All right, you have 1 point. You're going for 2.
All right, golf, Pat. True or false? Rory McIlroy last week blew a 3-stroke lead on Sunday, forcing a playoff in the Sawgrass TPC. He said the night after that, to calm himself, he went home and watched the movie The Devil Wears Prada. True or false?
I'll say that's false.
He says false.
True, because
It's true.
I think we had that last week.
That's true. Yeah.
We did have
I
a
only had one question last week. So I don't know which one I used.
yeah,
You grabbed the wrong stack, Gurggles?
That's why you should tune in every week, Pat.
It's like that Kelly Ripa show where they have to, they ask you a question that was something that was mentioned on the show yesterday. Right? It was great. All right, no, he got it wrong, right?
You got it wrong.
He got it wrong, right? Or he got it right wrong. He got it wrong. Okay, so that's a double knock. We should subtract an extra point. One going for 4.
All right, Pat. Which of the following major league players' first ever hit was a grand slam?
All right.
Fernando Tatis, Eddie Matthews, Julio Franco, or Chase Utley?
Matthew.
That's what I would have said. Eddie
What'd you
Matthews.
say?
He said Eddie Matthews.
No?
Chase Utley for the Phillies.
Chase Utley for the Phillies.
He was great. Wow.
All right. Did he have a lot of grand slams, Chase Utley?
I don't know if he did.
No, that was his only one. Okay.
I know it was the only one, but he wasn't a huge. He was a decent home hitter, but he wasn't a huge home hitter.
Didn't he start doing some juice and start knocking them out of the park? Chase Utley, look
He
that up.
got better later in his career, but I don't know if he was Mr. Grand Slam. I mean, I'll look it up. I don't think he was Mr. Grand Slam.
Okay, you are going for 6 if you get this one right.
March Madness question. 1966, we saw that great film on it. The Texas Western made sports history by beating Kentucky in the Final Four. What city was that held in?
Wow, tough one.
Los Angeles, Louisville, College Park, Maryland, or Greensboro, North Carolina?
Maryland.
Maryland.
That's right.
Yes.
College Park, Maryland.
Good
Nice
job.
job, Pat. Pulls out the 5-point question.
Right.
Pat Riley, who's very much in the news, it seems like every day now. Somebody's talking some trash about Pat being an old fart. What was on that Kentucky team?
Right.
Texas Western. All right, Pat with 6 points to lead us off. Dial us up if you want to play, 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. We have, for our local audience here in South Florida, a Landlubber's gift certificate. If you happen to be out of the area, like Key Largo Dave, even though he's in state, it's a bit of a schlep there to come up to the location there in Sunrise of Landlubbers. So we awarded him a Texas Roadhouse gift card.
Nice.
I think they have like 650 locations around the country. It's ridiculous. If you go to Keeneland, I know you're going, Dave. I had to scratch my trip and postpone it to the fall. But there's a Texas Roadhouse there in Lexington, packed to the rafters for good reason, because those Kentuckians don't necessarily always want to get hosed when they go to like Jeff Ruby's or one of these other high. What is the other place that's always advertising? I don't know.
I know Jeff Ruby's the one I thought of right away. It's
Tony
a steak
something.
race.
They have the little takeoff on the whole Goodfellas thing where the people walk through the kitchen even though they're wearing tuxedos and a hotly dressed babe, and they go to the kitchen and I got a table for you right up front. Right, and they just put the table right in there. All right, here we go. Next set of questions and ready for our next player. Here's Dave.
All right, college hoops. This coach, prior to NIL, when asked how to stop illegal recruiting, said, I'll tell you how you stop it. You just give every coach the same amount of money and tell them when they're done with their recruits, they can keep what's left over. What's that? My buddy Abe Lemons, Jack Lemon, Chet Lemon, or Meadowlark Lemon?
All right, roll it, Lubie. Roll the scrambler. And it lands on Mike. You are up next on the Trivia Challenge. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. That would be A.
A is correct.
Mike.
I
right,
will
Mike.
be rooting, by the way, for Mike Nyman's Gators, which is contrary to the philosophies I've shared with the people in our various audiences all throughout my existence down here. But I need them tonight. Keep my stinking bracket alive. So
I did a Beat the Broadcaster last Friday, and a guy had a Gator head cover. So then I tailored my joke to the FSU, of course. So I asked him, I said, "You're a Gator?" "Yeah." I said, "What do you call a beautiful blonde on the arm of an FSU graduate?" And the answer, a tattoo.
Oh, God.
If he had an FSU head cover, of course, it would have been.
Yeah.
All right.
True, false.
True or false boxing. And this one about our dear departed friend, George Foreman. Believe it or not, after the Foreman grill, there was a Jackie Chan grill that targeted the Asian market. True or false?
True.
I'm going to say true.
It is true. Yeah. They had an Evander Holyfield grill and somebody else as well.
George made out like a bandit there. Did somebody else famously turn that down or infamously turn down the
somebody
George
did.
Foreman?
I forget who it was. You're right.
Yeah.
But then there's the Polyman grill. You open it up and there's an IOU in it.
With apologies to the Polyman.
Yes, of course.
What was Gurggles? What did he mean by that? All right, Mike, you have 2 points going for 5.
All right, baseball, Mike. Who was the only major league player to hit 2 grand slams in the same inning?
Oh, wow.
Fernando Tatis, Alex Rodriguez, Albert Bell, or Albert Pujols?
All reasonable choices.
Albert Bell.
I want to say Tatis because he
It is
used
Tatis, Fernando Tatis.
I remember him doing it. Wow.
He was one of the choices earlier. I mean, this is a strategy. You have to understand the game, the nuances, the idiosyncrasies of this particular game, and one of which is if you hear a name pop up frequently, there's a likelihood is the answer to one of the questions.
One of them.
Probably the answer to the other one, too. I mean, do we still have the panel of judges here?
No, we just had one judge left, Duff Lindsay.
Wasn't he among the program directors that came running in every Saturday and saying, "What the bleep are you guys doing?"
No, he was actually one of our backers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was always very popular.
He said the highlight of our Saturday show, though, was when Ken Malden did the updates.
He was brilliant. He was the poet laureate of.
He certainly was.
2-minute sports update. All right. We are going for
2 going for 7.
7.
Yes, 7.
All right, Mike, golf. Prior to the Valspar, which was last week's golf tournament, taking over as the major sponsor of the PGA event, who was the sponsor? Ford, Black & Decker, J.C. Penney, or Nationwide?
I missed that first one. Could you repeat
okay.
it?
All right, Mike. Last week was the Valspar Open up at Innisbrook. The Valspar, of course, being the major sponsor. Prior to the Valspar taking over as the sponsor, who was the sponsor? Ford, Black & Decker, J.C. Penney, Nationwide.
Nationwide.
Yeah, you missed it again.
J.C.
Penney, as a matter of fact, believe it or not.
Nice try, Mike.
Since they're out of business, they don't have to sponsor this thing anymore. That's interesting. All right, Mike bombs out. Doesn't have a total worthy of being in the finals. That doesn't mean he won't be in the finals. So you could jump on board if you'd like to play. 954-417-0070. The Landlubber's gift certificate here locally. And then, of course, Texas Roadhouse, a great gift card from Texas Roadhouse. Notice how I switched that up, Gurggles, because I was stammering over certificate.
You did fine.
Gift card. They got a gift card. It's modern stuff. Anyway, we're giving that away, so you can win that if you're anywhere in the country here. And we'd love to hear from some out-of-towners because we always like new blood in the mix here. 954-417-0070. Before we get into our next player, Gurggles, tell us something. Well, I mean, there's not much we don't know after doing a show for like 25, 26 years about Perdomo Cigars. They've been with us, and you in particular, since the very beginning.
Yeah, let's take you back to 1998, but probably when I started on the show. Back then, they were even smoking allowed in bars. we had a humidor inside what was then the Shula's All-Star Cafe. And there was Nick in there with some of the other guys from his company. And they said, oh, we have our cigars in there. I started talking to him, said, I like a cigar once in a while. He gave me a couple to try, and boom. It's been a great marriage since there for 37 years now. No, 27 years. But still, Perdomo Cigars makes them perfect one at a time. You can go see him in person, 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the Palmetto on the south side, a little bit east of the Home Depot. And they are open 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go in there. And Bruce, now the concierge there, or the desk guy, retired police sergeant, knows everything about tobacco, and he will guide you through the humidor built by our late great friend, the Mad Dog. And you can go in there, you can buy a variety pack, or you tell them, I like a Connecticut wrapper, a Maduro wrapper. I like a strong cigar. I like a small one. I like a long one. They make them perfect. Me personally, I've got adjusted to the Lot 23, a nice Churchill cigar, which I will have this Saturday at your buddy's event, Doc Reno.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be out there?
Doc Reno has the South Florida Broadcasters Tournament for Family Matters, a great charity, and I will be out there helping to raise some money for Doc Reno. And I told him we'll tell him you said hello.
Yeah,
and I'll give him the donation you usually make. Now we'll even double it. But you can get your Perdomo cigar Monday through Friday, 305-627-6700. It's a Saturday or Sunday you want one? No problem. Go online to www.perdomocigars.com to find the cigar that helps you. So this Saturday, I'll be out in the golf course, maybe catching a little bit later the Florida Derby. Haven't made a pick there yet, but we'll have to wait and see. But Perdomo Cigars is always a sure thing.
Great group of people. South Florida media really had some very nice people. I mean, every form of work, you'll find some people that maybe you're thinking, hey, what the hell is this person all about? But for the most part, most of those guys, were they in management? Even some management people were tolerable in the South Florida media. And some of them were actually very inspiring. But the people that were involved behind the microphone, like Tommy C., Tom Caminiti, Doc Reno, and all of the people that were on the FM music side, especially, I would imagine we'll have a featured presence there at this golf tournament. Couldn't be any nicer. So you're going to be with a good crowd there, and that's a good thing. You can look on any Doc Reno social media and probably find details on that. All right, ready for our next set of questions here, and this may be our last player. What do you think, Lubie? Get one more in?
Probably.
Okay,
Probably.
all right, because we've kind of been meandering our way through this, but here's Dave and our next set of questions.
College football. This legendary Florida State head coach, on the disadvantage of coaching against one of his sons, said, I know their mother, and she'd always give them all my plays. What's that? Bobby Bowden, Bobby Flay, Pat Day, or Fay Ray?
Dadgum. All right, let's roll a random phone scrambler. And it lands on. Oh, this is always encouraging for us because we love to know this guy's okay. Andy, you're on the trivia challenge. Hello, Andy.
How you doing, guys?
Way to go, Andy. Well done. Well done.
Now, are you okay? I mean, there was some numbers there, in a negative category that looked like Buster Douglas right before he checked out from that diabetic coma. Are you all right now? Is that all balanced out?
Well, yeah, but what happened was when I heard Gurggles' voice last week, I thought it was Nunzio the loan shark calling me for debts from 30 years ago, and it shocked me so bad. It put me in the hospital.
That would sound kind of eerie to hear Gurggles talking through a phone voice shredder. We people often thought that the Polyman was talking through a voice shredder, but and there you go. See, I just said apologies to the Polyman, and then we go. It wasn't really a shot. I think it was a distinction. All right, you have 1 point, Andy. You're in the game and going for 2.
Football, Andy, true or false? While many athletes suffer financially after their playing days, Bo Jackson's net wealth is estimated to be about $25 million, including revenue from his food distribution company, Ingenuity, that serves our military. True or false?
I think he's worth more. I'll go false.
He says false.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah. He's done real well.
I was leaning towards true because
25 million.
Yeah.
25 million.
Should be worth more than that.
That's it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, knows capital. That's for sure. All right, 1 going for 4, Andy. This will put you in the finals if you get this.
All right, since you did a Lenny opening, we'll have to give you an ABA question. Who is the all-time ABA leader in steals during his career with over 800? Don Buse, George Gervin, Fatty Taylor, or Ron Perry?
Well, those are Fatty Taylor. That's a name.
Who the hell are
You
those?
know, somewhere I think it might be Don Busey.
On Boosie. No?
No, he's right up there, but believe it or not, it was Rolly Fatty Taylor. He was my camp counselor when I was in 9th grade at Dave Bing's All-Star Camp, and he said his claim to fame was he held Calvin Murphy to 63 points.
A
All right.
I wanted to make it dramatic. I got to get the last question.
Yes,
I
this
needed
is
to.
it.
Gotta make it.
So we're going to give you a March Madness question.
Buzzer beater. Here we go.
UCLA set a record for consecutive Final Four appearances with 10 appearances from 67 to 76. In 1992, Duke tied for second with 5 consecutive appearances, while with one other college who had previously also made 5 consecutive NCAA Final Four appearances. That other team was Houston, Cincinnati, Kentucky, or Ohio State.
Wow. God.
I'll go with. I'm going to get this wrong. I know it, but I'll go with the old Ohio State teams that have Jerry Lucas and those
You're
guys.
right. You are going to get it wrong. It was actually the team that beat them twice. Cincinnati with Oscar Robertson.
Wow.
5 times. Oh,
Boy,
sorry.
that's going way back.
And Tom Thacker, I believe, too.
I can't eat any food anyway, so I don't need to.
All right. Yeah. Donate the gift certificate if you end up winning it, because we have a spinoff here for who's going to face Pat in the finals. And Lubie's going to roll the scrambler there. And I would imagine it's largely.
So Mike didn't get the true false. Didn't Mike get to 2?
Yeah, he would have actually had 2 points.
So Andy's literally out. Andy actually did need that to get into the
Oh,
finals.
he did? Okay. All
Mike at 2 points, as warned, is in the finals. It's Mike at 2 points, and Pat will be in.
Okay. I mean, it's take the under. If you took the under, on
take
today's
the under, Ed. Good questions.
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, sometimes we've come out of the shoot with back-to-back sweepers here. So, very tough questions. Very, as our good friend Al Bernstein, who recently made an appearance here on Bleacher Brothers, with the Bleacher Brothers, A.J. Johnson and company, would say intriguing matchup. So,
by the way, I got to go to the Hard Rock to cash a ticket. One of my big teams that I liked was St. Mary's. Well, they were laying 4.5 to Vanderbilt. And I said, I don't know if they can beat them by that much. So I teased them, and I was getting 1.5. And I also had them with Kentucky and Oregon, who blew out there. So I got to go catch a ticket today, which is good.
Have you noticed there's never any reasonable proximity to an exit door near the cashier?
No.
Never. You got to wade your way through a minefield of temptation. It's unbelievable. All right, set for the finals, I believe, here, as we are going to tee up Pat and Mike. Dave's going to fire off a question. Call out your name, gentlemen, if you want to answer right away. If nobody answers right away, we offer multiple choice, and the first person to call out his name gets first chance, and then we go back and forth till we have a winner. So without delay, here we go, right into the finals, and Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Good luck, guys. Again, we lost a good one in George Foreman. So we'll ask you a question about him. The late George Foreman, and Jeff will like this one, won his first title defeating Joe Frazier. Then Ali took it from him, and George retired for the first time in 1977 after he was defeated by
Ooh.
Anybody?
All right, here's multiple choice. I need multiple choice on this.
Jimmy Ellis, Ernie Shavers, Jimmy Young, or Larry Holmes?
All right, we got it. Pat, who was it? Pat.
Ellis.
It was not Ellis, no. Jimmy Ellis, by the way, came into a studio when I was doing this interview show on WIOD many years ago. It was Jimmy Ellis and Pinklin Thomas, and I wish to this day that I had a recording of that show. It was absolutely a pleasure.
Wow.
Both of those guys were very entertaining and real true. Yeah, I'll always remember him. But unfortunately, I would have remembered that he did not defeat
Right.
George Foreman in his final bout in his first retirement. So 3 left here from Mike.
Mike, was it Ernie Shavers, Jimmy Young, or Larry Holmes?
Shavers.
It was not the Acorn. All right, 2 left for Pat.
Jimmy Young or Larry Holmes?
Young.
I think Jimmy Young, right?
Jimmy Young did it. Yeah.
Jimmy Young is
I
correct.
remember Devo talking
Jeff
about
would know
Jimmy.
that one.
Good job, Pat. You're our winner.
Lubie was on to that. Congratulations,
Yeah, I
Pat.
feel like Devo's talked about this before.
The light hitting Jimmy Young, who everybody thought got completely one of the big boxing robberies, got robbed when he fought Ali. And I believe a 10-round fight at some point during Ali's career. And Jimmy Young outboxes the guy for all 10 rounds, ends up losing on the scorecards, of course. And not that Muhammad Ali always needed these overwhelmingly favorable decisions, but he did catch his share. There's no doubt about that because of his popularity. But Jimmy Young, a hell of a boxer. No punch, no power in the heavyweight division. But he did knock George Foreman out of the game for quite some time. All right, Gurggles, you're going to be out there Saturday. Where's the location?
I'll see Doc Reno. And a tip for you guys. Last Saturday, I went down to the Miami Improv in Doral and saw a comedian. He's on Netflix called Steve Trevino.
Oh, he's great. I've seen him on TikTok. He's great.
He
talks about
does
his
so
wife
much stuff about husband and wives that
People would
both
love
you
him.
guys would appreciate that humor.
Oh, he's
Of course,
classic.
I had a nice time with a young lady, but I left the track early, and the turf pick 3 was George Ruiz winning 2 in a row with a 5-2 shot third and paid $7,000. So I'm thinking maybe that was a bad omen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck with all your plays.
Yeah, I'm going to say hello to Doc for you.
Yeah, tell Doc
we love Doc Reno. He is Mr. Radio. You know that. He is absolutely Mr. Radio. You name an obscure city somewhere in America, and Doc Reno will tell you, yeah, Bismarck, North Dakota. I was there at WDKA.
It's like the randomest.
This would be KDKA, but KDKA, no, isn't that the famous
that was definitely one he said.
station in Pittsburgh?
He was there.
But there's not one city that you could name that he didn't work in.
Well, he's been here a while now, too. He's been here for 2
40. What was that?
He's been here for like 2 decades. So that's the thing is like, it's not that he constantly moved his whole career. Like he settled in here for a long time and still has that track record of being at every major and small market across America.
Incredible. And really, it's stunning, actually. Lubie would throw some, obscure town in New Mexico out there. And, oh, yeah, well, I was there for a couple of years. I tell you what, we had contemporary hits going at the time. It was red hot.
Classic.
Made a fortune, and then I moved on to some other small place. All right, so yeah, the Doc Reno golf tournament that'll be a good thing. You can catch Dave Gurggles Gergely there. I believe that is in Pembroke Pines at the Pembroke Pines golf course. Is that right, Lubie?
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, look it up.
I've tracked his events for a while.
We can't help you find it, but we recommend that you go and make a generous contribution to yet another great Doc Reno charity. All right, thanks everybody for playing the game. Appreciate that. We are going to award Pat with the Landlubber's gift certificate. Lubie will be out there later on tonight with a live appearance. That's Pine Island and Sunrise Boulevard in the city of Plantation. And a good spot to watch the games. Good luck, everybody, with all of your bets and wagers during the course of the evening. Gets underway 7 o'clock. And, of course, opening day in Major League Baseball. It's true, Lubie. Being here in South Florida, the town without pity, and the way the Marlins franchise is operated, they have completely, I can now say with authority, completely sucked the romance out of opening day.
Oh, yeah. I don't care about it even a little. And I grew up loving it.
Normally I'd be with wild anticipation.
This
is getting underway. Yankee fans are all excited. The Mets get to debut Juan Soto.
Yeah,
and that's my play of the day, Lubie. I think Houston beats the Mets.
Oh, okay.
You have to lay a price. The Mets are on the road against Houston. Wild anticipation, too, about what the Mets might do with Juan Soto. But they're starting Clayton Holmes as our opening day starter. Clayton Holmes, who was much maligned. I don't know. That might not even be strong enough because that implies that it was undeserved. But he was getting just trashed last year at a late juncture of the season. He kind of turned it around later on. I remember he was a Yankees closer and he was blowing leads as a matter of routine. And people were trying to harpoon Aaron Boone, saying he's the worst manager in baseball. How could you bring this kid in the ninth? And he was getting hammered. And now he's going to be he's the opening day starter for the Mets. What does that tell you, Lubie? I mean, holy Jacob deGrom, what are we talking about here?
No, their pitching rotation's a disaster.
He's going against my man. I love this guy, Framber Valdez.
I mean, it's not like the Yankees rotation's fantastic, but the Mets rotation is not. It has major issues.
Minus 132, Lubie. Would you lay 132 to win 100 on Framber Valdez and the Houston Astros? The Astros are somewhat decimated, and that core isn't there anymore. You got Altuve and not much else.
Yep.
So Are they in for a long year? Possibly so, but I think it gets off to a glorious start today with Framber Valdez on the mound. Always tough. So look in the box score later on or tomorrow morning, and you will see Framber Valdez 1/3 of an inning, 6 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks,
Yeah.
and 0-1 on the season with an ERA that looks like a blood alcohol level of Oksana Bayou. Do people even remember that? She lit the meter up at like 6 point something. I mean, it was insane.
That was a big deal, but nowadays.
My God.
The Doc Reno, South Florida broadcaster, celebrity golf tournament is at the Plantation Preserve.
Okay, like I said, it's right around the corner
off of Broward Boulevard.
Where is the Plantation Preserve?
I think it's the Jacaranda.
What does that imply? What are they preserving there?
No, I think you remember the Jacaranda when I had wedding.
What is it?
Jacaranda Country. Remember wasn't Jacaranda there? I think
that was Jacaranda. I used to play that.
Remember, it's off of West Broward in Plantation.
Okay.
I know that well. I had a wedding there. So,
okay. So it's no longer called Jacaranda?
I just do the math, right? Like, how much golf course are in Plantation off Broward Boulevard? So to me, it's probably the same golf course. They just changed the name. And I remember Doc because I remember having flashbacks when I went to just say hello at one of his golfing events.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's the same place and they've changed the name is what I feel like.
Oh, that was a scene of your first wedding too. Wow.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So,
but it didn't turn out badly, Louie. You have to look at it that way. All's well that ends well.
It's fine. I'm not mad at it. I'm just
if you
saying,
hadn't gotten out of this thing, you would have never met the lovely Shirley, the love of your life. Think about that.
She's maybe awake now, and she's weird with references. So I'm trying not to say that too loudly. But I'm thinking that's with Plantation Preserve, because I've never heard of Plantation Preserve, but I know that area well, and I know there's a certain golf course that was always in that area. So I presume that they've changed names, and I'm sure they've upgraded it, and it's probably fantastic. But that's where it is this Saturday.
Wow. I mean, it's weird that you have to be careful about any reference to the ex-wife or the previous wedding.
Shirley's weird.
As with social media today, I can't tell you how many DeForests pop up. My current wife is well aware of it. It's like everywhere I look, I'm getting friend requests from another woman named DeForest. Incredible. I have no sisters. They're all exes. All right, X's and O's tonight. We'll see who prevails. Good luck, everybody. Opening day of the Major League Baseball season. Tennis action has been sensational at the Miami Open. Great stuff there. I have to give a little tribute and pay some homage to Grigor Dimitrov.
Okay.
Who is an older guy. You would think he'd be out of the game already. And he gets involved last night in a tennis bloodbath. And it was highly humidity laced last night, the atmosphere out there at the stadium. And I would imagine maybe being in that giant stadium and at the bottom of it with, tennis court that they threw in there and all wind and any kind of breeze blocked, that these guys were passing out, Lubie.
Oh, God.
No, literally, they had to pretty much cart this guy off in a wheelchair after he won, Dimitrov. But he's resurrected his ability. I mean, what a competitor. These guys were really going at it last night. So that was good stuff as well. Nice. So a lot of things to look forward to on the Sporting Ticket. We'll join you tomorrow with a Degenerate Friday. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time as we leave you now that.
The time.
And congratulations to Pat. I didn't know he was in that commercial.
Did
you ever buy that thing where they like just moving their feet? It's almost like stopping on the boardwalk in Atlantic City and having the little fish bite your toes to kind of alleviate all of the tension you're feeling from losing your ass at the casino. You ever stop at one of those things?
Oh, no.
They have them in, you see it in New Orleans too, where they're inviting you in to get like a strange array of beds. It's the kind of place you would expect Bob Kraft to come out the back and go straight to Acme Oyster House. But the little fish, I mean, wouldn't that kind of... Did you do that when you were in like Thailand or one of these Asian countries?
Had it. My wife's always wanted to do it. I've never done it. Yes, Thailand had it. It weirded me out. I've never done it. It may be a good thing. I don't need animals eating my skin.
Who needs this?
I'm okay.
Hey, listen, Piranha Breath, I don't want any part of this. So don't try to entice me to come in there by waving your arms and saying, hey, big guy, you need a massage. No, I don't. All right. Have fun, everybody. Have a great day.
Good luck
For Mike
tonight.
Lubie, Dave Gurgley, I'm Jeff DeForest. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that. Did we do that already?
We did.
All right. Did it again. It's 9:07.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.